This is a product performance testing review for SnoreRx, which is an anti-snoring product. This product basically uses the same main functioning component as a lot of the other anti-snoring components, which is a thermoplastic liner, which is used to align the teeth and maintain the set of the teeth during its usage. And that basically how it works is you put this in boiling water, and then you dip it in another glass of water that cools it slightly, put it in your mouth, and then you bite down and it forms into the thermoplastic the shape of your teeth, and you get something that looks kind of like this. This is after 18 months. And this method of creating a set and alignment, it seems to be the best, especially with the variation you get in you know, basically the shift. And you can see here that there's an adjustment method in the SnoreRx, which is basically 1 centimeter of adjustment, basically to align, you know, both two-dimensionally kind of align the basic shape of your teeth, and also the axis adjustment front and back of how your teeth slide or naturally want to sit when they're at rest. And of course, you know, they go to explain how this works, which is pretty much in their literature. It keeps your jaw from sliding back and maintaining also the resting position of your jaw while you're sleeping, which is very important, which is why I chose this product. I have had some TMJ issues. It's kind of the issue where you really don't want to go there. You know, you don't need to answer questions that you don't have to ask. So if you don't have TMJ, or you've had TMJ, this is the kind of product that I chose. It has a specific adjustment that you can use to, you know, align this specifically to your inset of your jaw. So the whole idea of the SnoreRx plays off of a lot of other simple ideas that you see in the industry. This is pretty much a culmination of an all-in-one product. It has basically a thermoset alignment method, basically to ensure the position of your teeth within, you know, a natural form of a U shape, and this particular alignment of your teeth, which can be just practically anywhere. And if you notice, you know, you can get variations all the way from one side to another, and this thermoplastic does allow for that kind of a variation. You know, when you're biting into it, it can be your teeth could be all the way to one side and all the way to the other. Thermoplastic is fairly compliant to that point. You do have to often do it twice, you know, boil and bite and then boil and bite, basically to set this alignment. As far as the TMJ issues, you've got this 1 centimeter adjustment here, which is very valuable, and it's very specific. It seems to be very consistent. I've had, you know, problems with TMJ before, not severe problems, but you know, when this is not set right, you can adjust, you can play off of it. And like I said, this incorporates several ideas in this industry. They all seem to be culminated in this design, which, you know, it's hard to do. You know, there's a lot of things that tend to work and not work in this industry, and to pack it all into one product is, you know, difficult. They've done a good job, and you know, the price indicates that as well. It's a fairly sophisticated dental appliance. Now, as far as, you know, how this wears, one of the main features for this, obviously, is you can take it apart. And when you do that, you've got basically two components, which you have a small place here, which I've found tends to accumulate material over time, and I'm going to propose a method that I'm going to use to try to alleviate that part of the contamination of this. There's several different kinds of bacterial films and other bacteria that you want to make sure don't get culminated in here, and it kind of depends on who you are and maybe some of the things you take right before you sleep, whether you have reflux or whether you have antacid, as to, you know, how some of the things I'm proposing to, you know, amend this would work for you. And the way this works, obviously, is you basically can slide this back together, you squeeze one component, and basically it fits. And you can go ahead and set your offset here for how many millimeters, you know, is natural. And I think they have I think the median is like 3 or 5 or somewhere in there. I'm a 3, and that'll, when I make the adjustments to this to actually get rid of that contamination issue and that adjustment mechanism, you know, that's important. I know I'm a 3. 3 works well, and I'm going to do something to actually set it at 3 and make sure that it allows for better cleaning. So far in this video, I've covered basically the basic operating idea behind this dental appliance, the thermoform plastic, the rigid cup which maintains the formation of this thermal shape of your teeth, and also the adjustment, which is very specific, very good set. All these combined together to make a very specific alignment mechanism for your teeth, which is good. You know, if you had TMJ issues, you really don't want to go back to that. If you don't want to have TMJ issues, to draw a circle around some of these features is a good way not to have to answer questions that you don't need to ask, especially about TMJ. What I want to go now is the performance issues that cause its eventual failure. There are probably several failure mechanisms. As I noted, the punch through, you know, is an issue, but 18 months is pretty good for me. This lasted for 18 months. The biggest issue I had was in the last month. It wasn't like it went on for 3 months and then failed. It was basically the last month. There are a couple cracks that appeared in the upper portion of the plastic, the PMMA plastic, and that is here, and also most critically, and this product takes a lot of abuse, so this is not a criticism of the product itself. It's basically just, you know, wear and tear. Eventually gets to design feature flaws. I'm an engineer. I've worked with plastics, worked with all kinds of materials like this and molding processes, and I do understand, you know, the battle involved with trying to get something like this to perform over time. Right here is where there's the upper plate, the lower plate material. It can come out. The reason it can come out is because the tab that allowed it to stay in, which is right here, you can see, this area right here is gone. It's broken. So that allows this to flex, which basically gets rid of the ratcheting mechanism, the way that the ratcheting mechanism can stay in. So when you basically put all this together and you assemble it very easily, which is not supposed to do, then you can see that the ratcheting mechanism is broken. Well, it's broken. It won't maintain a set anymore, which means that basically this thing could float around in your mouth and you don't get that in and out inset adjustment anymore. The original design, the ratcheting mechanism is very stable. So, you know, when you adjust it and you set this, you can tell it's meant to be set, and it stays there. When you take this thing apart and the more you flex this, that's probably one of the big failure modes for this point in here where these they made a place where they can attach the thermoplastic, you know, basically dies here into this PMMA plastic to allow you to bite down. It secures that, but it's also a weak point. So that's kind of an issue. If you have to take this apart to clean it, that's a big issue, and I'm going to propose a solution for that. In general, cleaning these products, that was one of the other failure modes that I experienced with this product. It wasn't ever a failure mode, it's just, you know, a design issue that with all the complexity of this, you're going to have that. This material getting into this ratcheting mechanism here, and how do you get that out? You have to take it apart. I'm going to propose a method a little bit later to how to do that. I mean, anybody can do it. Anybody can buy the material and do this method. I'm going to try to describe to seal that so it doesn't get anything in it. As far as cleaning this, getting the material out of here, and overall, you know, maintenance of the product, they suggest you use an ultrasonic cleaner, which is nice if you have one. They're kind of expensive. The price may have came down. I thought they were up around $100 or so, or maybe more than that, maybe less. Ultrasonic would probably be the best mechanism for that. I do not know. There's different kind of biofilms. There's Canada albanus, and I think it's right, albicans. There's an albicans biofilm, and there's also streptococcus biofilm that tends to get in these. Biofilms are not happy. Biofilms are very resistant to a lot of things designed to clean them. What I've found best is to try to get that kind of material out is once a week. Get some kind of an enzyme product, and this is a simple digestive enzyme product from a vitamin company, and it has, I don't know if you can see this or not, it has pretty much every enzyme you can think of that will break down what is considered normal digestive material, which is protein-based, sugar-based, all kinds of different vegetable-based. So basically this enzyme concoction, if you dissolved this in water and put this, you know, put your appliance in that, it's going to get rid of all those biofilm products. Another thing is, when you talk about reflux, if you talk about you know, what happens if you take calcium, you know, calcium supplements before you go to bed, or if you're taking antacids before you go to bed, that material gets into here and in between, and it's very hard to clean up. If you use like hydrogen peroxide, that works very well to get rid of, like during the week. If you want to enzyme clean on the weekends, hydrogen peroxide does very good to clean the daily material out, biomaterial. It won't work on calcium deposits. So if you have reflux or just basically have a calcium problem, you have to use like citric acid. And you can make this is a hydrogen peroxide bottle, but I have it labeled citric acid, and this is basically 1 quart, 1,000 milliliters basically. And for this, you can make up a 10% solution if you mix in, and you can get citric acid at a lot of places on the internet in bulk. It's not too bad price. eBay has it. Mix up 6 tablespoons of citric acid with 1 quart water, and be sure you mark it citric acid, so you're not wanting to, you don't want to put this in a wound. This will basically make a 10% solution, which if you're soaking your appliance all day, 10% is going to be fine. If you just want to do an hour, you may have to go up to like 50 or so. So that's primarily the methods that I use. There might be some other ones. Like I said, they recommend an ultrasonic cleaner. So what I'm going to describe next is the method which I have come up with to try to seal that inner ratcheting method. I mean, this rapid ratcheting mechanism they have to basically work with this ratcheting mechanism to seal it up. So that basically, and that only works if you know what your set is. If your set is 3 millimeters, basically, before you even take your new appliance and do a thermal set on it, go ahead and make your adjustment to 3 millimeters, and then do this procedure I'm getting ready to describe to seal those internal components, so you don't have to mess with those, and you don't have to take it apart, because taking it apart, I believe, is one of the main failure mechanisms for that upper casting and perhaps the lower casting, where they've had to make a place to attach this inner thermoform mold, and it's a weak spot, and that's just something you run into. But if you didn't have to take this apart to clean it, you wouldn't have that. So what I'm going to do and I was experimenting with this a little bit. This is a one-shot deal here, so I've got to make sure I get this process right, because I haven't done it before. But that describes 90% of the things I do. I have 20 US patents, so a lot of the inspiration for that came from whole shots like this. Anyway, I did some experiments on this one. I'm going to go ahead and finish that one after I get done with this first one. What I want to do is go ahead, and I've got my RTV, is go ahead and fill the gap with the RTV. And this is the cup part. This isn't the slider part. This is the part that has the ridges in it. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this with RTV. Okay, that's actually too much, and I know that. So what I do next is to take a razor blade and push from beginning, this side, to the end, and scrape. Here's a spot right there that didn't get filled. I've got material on my razor blade, so go back and just scrape. So kind of fill that in. And there's stuff everywhere, which is what RTV is famous for. So I'm going to try and take my razor blade and clean him up. I'll go ahead and finish the other side. I got material. See, I got RTV on the grid in the measuring gradient. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to clean it up after I get done. So here again, we're going to do the other side. I'm going to put the RTV in the gap. Go ahead and lay it in there. And you can see it filling in the gap. There. Go ahead and put it in. Like I said, there's too much here, but I want to make sure when you're scraping with the razor blade that there's a positive pressure on the blade against the shelf that pushes that material down inside those crevices. You need to have that, so you have to have excess material. So here we go, I'm going to scrape. And it filled, pretty much full. It's pretty much what you'd expect. My brain must have learned a little bit from doing this one here. Even though it still does have a little gap in it, see it? So I'll go ahead and fill that. Doesn't want to fill. Well, pull it in the other direction. There we go, it's filled. Now, the way this mechanism works is that on the other side, there's a shelf slider. This is the actual biting racking. See right there, at this point here, here's the points where the ratcheted mechanism actually bites in and sets the adjustment. And this entire formation here is a slide. It actually fits. You can see it. See here. Let's actually see it better on this one. See the slide right here? This is basically a little shelf. That's what slides into that hollow spot that we just filled up with RTV. So what I'm going to do, and like I said, I haven't done this before, so hold your breath. Basically take the RTV, go ahead and take the upper position, push it together, start my slide and the adjustment at the same time. We have excess RTV material coming out, which is what you can expect. I'm going to push it, slide it, pushing, sliding, getting down to where my adjustment is. Of course, on this side I got material in the mechanism, so I can't read it. So I need to set that to the right level for me. Make sure this side is set at the right level. Okay, now got some material sticking out, bubbling out of the ends. Get our handy dandy razor blade up here again. There's excess material off of the razor blade because we don't need to do any more filling. So here we go. I'm going to basically take the razor blade, go in and scrape. And take off that extra material. I'll flip the razor blade around. So here we are again at that point. So I'll go in and scrape. So basically we've got most of the material out of the way and it's sealed. Now what you need to do is to go in and do cleanup on this with some toilet paper. Basically, see right here, go in and get that. Right here, go ahead and clean up on this. Fold the RTV underneath and get it out of your way because it just keeps coming up to be contaminating all your skin and all your clothes. Go ahead, do it this way and wipe. Okay, so we got a fairly clean place. I'll go ahead and touch that up a little bit after I turn the camera off. Like there's some spots right in there. Need to touch that. Spots right there, maybe touch that a little bit, but you can see from the top that the fill is pretty good for inside, so that's pretty much sealed. So there isn't going to be any foreign material getting inside that gap anymore. So I'm hoping this will cut down on my cleaning time for this product. And like I said, if you need to and you have to get in and tear it apart and redo it, you can. The RTV won't stick to the PMA plastic, so you can get it out of there. So it's something that's not going to ruin it, but if it doesn't work for you the first time, you can try it again. Like I said, it does tend to cut down on the amount of work that you have to do to clean it. So I'll probably do another report on that 18 months from now, see how it goes. So there you go. That's my performance testing review of the SnoreRx anti-snore dental appliance.